then that's when I.
1, 2, 4, 9, 12.
All right. Yeah, I think that's what I'll be doing as well. I'll be waiting to people come on.
We have some technical difficulty. You know how the videos used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows and Early Career Awards Ceremony. I am Kenneth McNulty from the AFRL Public Affairs Office. I am honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies today, and I will be your guide through these festivities. Today, we are honored to have many distinguished guests online to celebrate with us. We would like to start out by introducing the Air Force Research Laboratory Command Section. Brigadier General Heather Pringle, Commander. Mr. Jack Blackhurst, Executive Director. Dr. Timothy Bunning, Chief Technology Officer. Colonel Paul Henderson, Vice Commander. And Chief Master Sergeant Kenneth Arnold, Command Chief. A heartfelt welcome to all of the 2020 Fellows and Early Career Award recipients, friends and family across the Air Force. Your love and support for the recipients have been a vital part of their success. Without any further ado, please welcome the Commander, Brigadier General Heather Pringle.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's a wonderful day, and I'm thrilled to be here to celebrate the 2020 awardees and inductees into the AFRL Early Career Award recipients, as well as the AFRL 2020 Fellows. What a great opportunity to get together. I wish we could all be in the same room together, clapping and cheering and having the wonderful ambiance of the National Museum of the Air Force. But of course, during the natural churn and challenging times that we face in a COVID world, it was more important that we kept you safe and healthy at home. So we're doing this a little bit differently, and of course, we didn't want to delay us giving you the opportunity to talk about your achievements and how wonderful your contributions are, not only to the Air Force Research Lab, but to our nation and to the future of our national security. So I want to start off with a couple of thanks, and first off the list is Dr. Mark Lewis, who you heard was introduced. And sir, your presence here really signifies the importance of these awards and what these awardees have won and what they have achieved, not only in a short term for the early career recipients, but also those fellows who are culminating a career of accomplishments and truly excellence in science, technology, and innovation. So it's wonderful to have you here, Dr. Lewis. To all of our peers, our coworkers, friends, as well as supervisors, boy, of course you are here, like you always are, cheering and coaching and basically being here for those AFRL folks who are going to be recognized. Your support and frankly your mentorship has really been instrumental in allowing them to technically progress in their careers. And of course, when necessary, you're there to provide that little bit of extra cajoling where necessary. It's really important that we also recognize the family members who are able to be present in this year's celebration. I will say one silver lining from doing this virtually is that we've been able to expand the circle of invitees to this year's celebration. It's bigger and broader and more impactful than it ever could have been in just one location. So we're very excited to have our friends and families in the room. And to say a little bit more about the families who have been watching their loved ones toil away, and you see what's occurring behind the scenes. You've really seen the extra hours that these people put in to dedicate and further their science and technology and engineering efforts. You see the struggles that they've all been through, how they're thinking through the problem solving at night, probably waking up in the middle of the night with an aha solution from time to time. And importantly, you see the impact on your family and you see the sacrifices that they make. Well, let me tell you, family Today, I really hope you get to hear about the impact that your loved ones have had not only on our Air Force, but also on our Space Force. You provide the key ingredients in ensuring these accomplishments occurred, and I hope that you enjoy today's celebration as much as our members themselves. So turning to the recipients, well, for a few of you, I got to be the first one to say congratulations, and for some of you, I was maybe the second, but congratulations. Your awards are most heartily deserved. It's really an honor to be a part of today's ceremonies. We have 11 fellows and 9 early career award recipients. And you've achieved these milestones in a world at a crucial time in our world, but also a crucial time in AFRL. In fact, the world is changing very fast, and we know in the science and technology world that technology is changing even faster. So your ability to keep up with these fast-moving changes, the dynamic times, and the churn are the reason why AFRL is making such a difference for national security. You're the reason we keep up, and we need more people like you in the future. All of you have propelled the Air Force and Space Force forward. And you prepared yourselves not only through hard work, through a lot of homework, but also through teamwork, as I know many of you have been gracious in acknowledging your teammates who have helped you get here. I am sure this audience today will be inspired, like me, in hearing about all your achievements. There's nothing I wish more than to celebrate with you in person, but I know that we have made our best efforts to make today as special as we could for you. So turning to the fellows, this award has been around since 1987. Only 0.3% of our scientist and engineer workforce has ever been inducted as a fellow into AFRL. Only 75 fellows are currently serving in AFRL of the mere 233 who have ever been inducted. That is truly an elite group among a very distinguished elite group of AFRL scientists and engineers. You were picked among a very tough, competitive field. It was a rigorous process led by Dr. Bunning and his team. And when I called a few of you fellows, some of you actually expressed shock upon being notified. I have a couple comments here that I wrote down at the time I made these phone calls. A few of you were speechless. Some of you really were not speechless, and you had a lot to say and you were really excited. Some of you were stunned. At least one of you didn't believe me that you had won or that you were going to be selected as a fellow. A few of you had difficulty holding back your surprise. But let me say that all of you were humbled because you know how special these awards are. It is a career honor, and we have so many great folks in AFRL, but you represent the best of the best. To our early career awardees, you are also a very select group. You're only 35 have been selected for this distinction since AFRL has been around. It was an equally competitive process done by a rigorous committee, and I have to say that so many of us are proud of what you have already accomplished in your very short tenure, and we expect bigger and better things to come from you in the years to come. So keep going. AFRL, today is truly a special day. I'm honored to be a part of this ceremony. I'm honored and basically in awe by everything that you do, and particularly for these fellows and these early career award winners. Thank you for what you have done for our Air Force, our Space Force, and our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, General Pringle. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as we celebrate the superior science and technology accomplishments of our AFRL colleagues, we are sharing this event across the spectrum. It is my pleasure to introduce one of our guests today, Dr. Mark Lewis. Dr. Lewis served as the Chief Scientist of the U.S. Air Force from 2004 to 2008. During his tenure, Dr. Lewis expanded basic research support, focused efforts on launch vehicle technologies, established major international programs, and contributed to the Presidential National Aeronautics Executive Order. Today, Dr. Lewis serves as the Acting Deputy Undersecretary of Defense Research and Engineering, where he is responsible for research, development, and prototyping activities across the DoD enterprise. In addition, he oversees the activities of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the Missile Defense Agency, the Space Development Agency, the Defense Innovation Unit, the DoD Laboratory and Engineering Center Enterprise, and the Under-Secretariat staff focused on developing advanced technology and capability for the U.S. military. In addition to his responsibilities as the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense Research and Engineering, he is also the Director of Defense Research and Engineering for Modernization. In this capacity, Dr. Lewis oversees investment and capability analysis of the Pentagon's modernization priorities outlined in the National Defense Strategy. You may recognize a number of these modernization priorities: 5G, artificial intelligence and machine learning, autonomy, biotechnology, cyber, directed energy, fully networked command, control, and communications, hypersonics, microelectronics, quantum science, and space. Please welcome Dr. Mark Lewis.
Thank you so much. General Pringle, Mr. Blackhurst, Dr. Bunning, our distinguished guests, family members, but most importantly, the incredible, dedicated, brilliant men and women of the Air Force Research Laboratory. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join in this event, for the warm invitation to help you celebrate the achievements of our amazing honorees today. On a personal note, I want to tell you, it is so good to be among so many friends and cherished colleagues in the Air Force Research Laboratory. So echoing General Pringle's comments, I'm sorry this can't be done in person. There's no group I'd rather be surrounded with, no spot on the planet that I would rather be standing in than the Museum of the Air Force, the Central Gallery. And as an aside, I appreciate speaking with an audience who understands that I would rather be in an aerospace museum than, say, on a beach or on a mountaintop somewhere. So that truly is nirvana for me. So I want to tell you all something that I hope everyone already knows, but sometimes this bears repeating. AFRL is a national asset. You have a critical mission to support our airmen and women and, in fact, the entire Department of Defense. And since the founding of the U.S. Air Force, AFRL and its precursor organizations have helped define the future. Right? Every system, every project, every new discovery that's come out of the labs has helped make America safer. It's helped preserve the lives of our men and women in combat. And in many cases, it has helped keep them out of harm's way entirely, keep them out of combat, deploying the sorts of technologies that you develop in the defense of our nation. So you truly are the ones giving our people the tools that they need to fly, fight, and win. I know of no greater mission, no higher calling for a STEM professional. It's truly science and engineering in the service of our nation and in defense of our shared values and ideals. I'm wearing my purple hat, and so full disclosure, I'm now purple. I oversee all the services, but who are we kidding? I still bleed Air Force blue. But wearing that purple hat, I can tell you no one does this mission better than the Air Force Research Lab. So for our honorees today, to be recognized as among the best of the very best, it is one of the highest and most meaningful honors and professional accomplishments that I can imagine. I actually personally have a small tradition. Whenever I visit the AFRL command section, which unfortunately haven't been able to do recently because of COVID restrictions, but when I do visit, I always plan to arrive a little bit early so that I can read the plaques on the wall of all the past awardees, the AFRL fellows, and the other honors. It's an amazing group. Just reading their accomplishments, their contributions, is to step back into Air Force S&T history. I urge you all to do the same, not just our honorees, but everyone on this call. Spend some time reading those plaques, except don't do it all at once or General Pringle will call me up and yell at me about the traffic jam I've created outside her office. But it's worth doing. I hope it goes without saying that to be named an AFRL Fellow is one of the greatest honors that, in a professional career. It's a recognition for excellence from an organization defined by excellence. It's chosen by peers and colleagues for substantial and significant contributions. And of course, the AFRL Early Career Award, what an amazing group of awardees we have today. So I want to give you a special thanks to this year's Early Career cohorts for dedicating yourselves to our important mission, for joining the team. You are our future. And I'm going to charge you, I fully expect to see all of our early career awardees back here in a few years when you too become our AFRL Fellows. So again, congratulations to our fellows and early career honorees. We call you honorees, but in some ways, I think that's a misnomer because frankly, it is you who honor all of us with your commitment to excellence, service, and integrity. So don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of how important your work is, how important is what you do, and never doubt how well you do it, nor how much your contributions impact our Air Force, our Department of Defense, and our nation as a whole. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Dr. Lewis, thank you for those words and being present today. With that, I would like to welcome our Chief Technologist, Dr. Tim Bunning.
Thank you all. It is my honor as well to be here and to be participating as part of this. To the boss, I had the privilege, as you well know, of calling the Early Career Award winners. Again, sheer excitement. I find it hard to believe, though, that in your calls that any of our S&Es were speechless, because I've never exhibited or been around the AFRL speechless person. I want to congratulate all of the families that are out there celebrating, families and colleagues celebrating with their co-workers. These are truly team awards. I know we give them out as individuals, but they're truly team awards. I want to give just a few additional words on each of the categories. For the fellows, I have used this narrative in every opportunity that I can. It is truly very, very difficult to become an AFRL Fellow. I have had the privilege of being nominated in a variety of other technical societies. Because I'm a jack of all trades and master of none, I'm asked to write letters of endorsement for AFRL folks in a variety of technical professional societies. The bar that we internally, AFRL, put on our fellowship program is truly among the toughest that I have ever been around and ever been part of. And so when we say you are the best of the best, we really mean that. There are 3 categories that we nominate you in for the families who may want a little more backdrop on this. One is in research, one is in tech transition and tech transfer, and our newest one, which is in program and organizational leadership, truly to cover the gamut of the breadth of activities that go on here. Each chief scientist, each directorate, each technical directorate can nominate only 2 per TD. That they are scored through a very, I would say, rigid scoring rubric that the chief scientists get together and do the evaluation. I know one of the activities that gave me the most anxiety when I was a chief scientist within the Materials and Manufacturing Directorate was this evaluation. I tried within the directorate to articulate that the true win in this is being nominated for the award coming out of the directorate, that the competition at the AFRL level was truly fierce, and that you really should celebrate the nomination. Understand we're all human, understand the competitive nature that we are, but I truly believe that being one of the 2 each year that come out of the TDs is a nod unto itself and should truly be celebrated. Each candidate has up to 5 letters of recommendation. These letters routinely come from 4-star general officer equivalents, from the CEOs and vice presidents of major companies, and from members of the National Academy. So truly the best of the best, articulating and you know, on the behalf of the AFRL folk, celebrating, their accomplishments through the years. One of the few perks of being the Chief Technology Officer, I've been down here for 7 months, is that I am no longer a voting member of the board. And so this year, I didn't have the anxiety that I normally had with the process. I truly got to sit back and listen and internalize just the phenomenal and formidable accomplishments that each of these fellows were nominated for throughout their career. Your commitment to AFRL is duly noted. It's appreciated. We are in an era where people tend to move around a lot more than, say, 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. And your long-term commitment to the men and women of the Department of the Air Force represents what is central, I think, to the AFRL Fellow Award. Long-term sustained excellence in a science and technology space that's absolutely critical to today's or tomorrow's warfighter. So on behalf of the fellow chief scientists, the Research Advisory Committee, the Research Advisory Council, again, uber congrats. To the early career award winners, you were at the other end of the pipeline, as referred to, typically within the first 7 years of your government career. And your selection should be held up in that same rarefied air. No offense to the fellows, but if you look at the statistics, the percentages of those eligible, it's even more selective for the early career awards. In any given year, about 1/5 of 1% of our technical workforce is even eligible to be nominated. The 16 to 20 individuals every year that are nominated represent about 1% of the eligible pool, those that have less than 7 years. And so when you do the math, it's truly an astounding select few out of the pool of talent that we have that make it to the selection process. Again, I want to get back on that soapbox of it's really being nominated should be celebrated, and so I strongly encourage the TDs to celebrate all nominees in both categories because, I think the level of competition that we put into these is truly phenomenal. The selection process for ECAs is slightly different. It's a fellow of former AFRL fellows, so some of you fellows this year might be asked to give back to the organization by sitting on the ECA board next year. Some of our senior scientists, they review the detailed packages. They hear an advocacy briefing on behalf of the fellow by someone that's close to the fellow and understands the work. A detailed scoring rubric, much like the fellows. And then the Research Advisory Council stamps their recommendation going forward and does the adjudication. This year, you 9 are the selectees. You and your team should be very proud. You typically don't get to this point in this early of your career without substantial help from your team and from mentors and from supervisors. So to all of the affiliated ecosystems of each of you, I want to thank you for being there and helping the fellows get to where they are. Finally, to all the recipients, and quite honestly to every other person within AFRL, S&Es and non-S&Es alike, please know and embrace that you are the most crucial element to meeting the challenges of the Department of the Air Force now and in the future. Yes, we're a technology-centric organization, but without the people, without all of the functions that make us effective, we get nowhere. And so it is the people. We live in a rapidly changing AFRL, as you all are feeling and experiencing and commenting on. The boss and I get lots of comments. We are in a very dynamic geopolitical environment. We are in a tremendously fast-paced S&T ecosystem, which puts lots of stressors into our processes, which have been codified over time in a much more transactional environment. We are in a technology-rich landscape across the international world, and clearly we're in a global society. I'm excited I'm very proud to serve as your Chief Technology Officer. The boss and I spent an hour and a half with the fellows and the ECA award winners last Friday. I thought it was a great discussion, solved all of the world's problems as well as AFRL's, and I look forward to continuing those discussions one-on-one or with any set of groupings that you would like. I think that's where we make progress, is coming together, understanding each other, and moving the ball down the field. So congratulations to all the recipients. You represent the excellence needed for the future, the excellence needed for AFRL to successfully pivot to a new national defense strategy, and the excellence needed to work in a world that is increasingly multidisciplinary and is increasingly collaborative. And also, I would like to thank for all parties involved in pulling this together, for everyone's patience as we've had to adapt to the COVID situation. Like the boss, like Dr. Lewis, I would much rather be at the Air Force Museum, but we will celebrate and then hopefully follow up with an in-person event when things open back up. So again, thanks to all. Back to you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Dr. Bunning. As was outlined earlier by General Pringle and Dr. Bunning, established in 2012, the AFRL Early Career Award recognizes significant research accomplishments by scientists and engineers who have been employed in AFRL for less than 7 years with no more than 15 years since the award of their bachelor's degree. The 2020 ECA recipients represent 50 years of combined AFRL service, with an average of 5.5 years. With great pride, we recognize our 2020 Early Career Award recipients. To learn more about each of the winners, please visit our website at afresearchlab.com or visiting our Facebook page. As we announce the awardees and discuss their accomplishments, please enjoy this on-screen slideshow featuring both work and personal photos of the recipients after the slides. We will shift to each technical directorate for the award presentation. The 2020 Early Career Award recipients are Dr. Caleb Barnes, connecting via Zoom.
Dr. Barnes is a research aerospace engineer in AFRL's Aerospace Systems Directorate at Wright-Patt. While completing his master's and PhD at Wright State University, he served as a Pathways intern in the directorate. Since joining AFRL in 2015, as a government S&E, he has emerged as a leader in multidisciplinary high-performance simulation, targeting the discovery and characterization of complex aeroelastic response of flexible air vehicles and their subsystems. His pioneering research directly impacts risk reduction in the design and fielding of lightweight revolutionary platforms, through the early discovery and mitigation of adverse flexible vehicle response. He and his wife, Margaret, reside in Cedarville, Ohio, with their daughters, Evelyn, Naomi, and Lydia. When not working in the lab, Caleb makes time to hike local, state, and national parks with family. He also has a unique hobby, and that is he enjoys raising chickens. This is an example of us adapting, because Caleb does not have his Early Career Award winner, because the award is actually in decontamination protocol right now from potential exposure due to COVID. So Dr. Barnes, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Next, we have Dr. Kristen Duran.
Dr. Duran joined AFRL's Airman Systems Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, as a research chemical engineer in 2016, after more than 10 years as an AFRL intern and contractor. She is making substantial contributions in the fields of occupational safety and health, as well as aerosol science. Dr. Duran led the development of a one-of-a-kind system to characterize fighter pilot breathing air quality to return grounded F-35 and T-6 aircraft to flight. Her efforts related to the characterization of virus particle properties in human expirations helped address COVID-19 transmission concerns. Dr. Duran received her PhD in chemical engineering from Case Western Reserve University. She and her team earned the Office of Secretary of Defense Thomas D. White Environmental Award in 2020. Dr. Duran and Josh reside in Dayton, Ohio, with a 1-year-old daughter, Sophie. Kristen is full of energy, and while at the University of Dayton, she cheered all 4 years and during her first year of grad school. She ran the Chicago Marathon and enjoys spending time with her 10 nieces and nephews. So, Dr. Duran, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Dr. Abigail Jewell.
So a little ad lib here. I know Abby very well from my time in the Materials and Manufacturing Directorate. I'm happy to see her here. She joined my group back when I was actually doing real work. No offense, ma'am. And I'm, like I said, I had nothing to do with her receiving this because the chief scientists don't partake. So I'm very, very excited to see her get this. I think she's most deserving. So Dr. Jewell is a materials research engineer in the AFRL Materials and Manufacturing Directorate. After spending 3 years as an intern and postdoctoral fellow in the directorate, she transitioned into government service in 2014. She is considered an expert in the burgeoning field of active mechanical metamaterials, which address size, weight, and performance issues in battlefield acoustics, sensing, munitions, hypersonics, and counter-directed energy weapons. Dr. Jewell has partnered with industry and delivered components of flexible sensors for physiological monitoring. Additionally, she has patented algorithms that allow patient monitoring during en route care. Dr. Jewell received her PhD in material science and engineering from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and currently resides in Bellbrook, Ohio with her husband, another former RXer, Jason Reber, and her daughter, Eliana. This is a unique fact about Abby. She was a diver at North Carolina State University, but she didn't like heights. And so she first learned to do backwards diving so that she wouldn't have to deal with the heights of being up on the diving board. She also shares a passion. Abby, I don't think you know this, but you share a passion of mine, or a passion of mine I once had, and that's mowing the lawn. You have an affinity for mowing the lawn. I think it's because you grew up with 3 brothers who wouldn't let you do it. And when I owned a house and I had a lawn, I also used to enjoy mowing the lawn. So Abby, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Dr. Nicholas Kovac.
All right, Dr. Kovac joined AFRL in 2014 as a research electronics engineer in AFRL Sensors Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, after working as a contractor in the directorate for 3 years. He has provided significant scientific and leadership contributions to mission avionics, cybersecurity, and open architecture solutions for mission systems, both growing areas of importance to the Air Force, Space Force, and DoD. Based on his demonstrated abilities, Dr. Kovac was selected to serve as the principal investigator for the science and technology aspects of the Open Mission Systems program and expressed SAF AQ priority. He received his PhD in computer science from the Air Force Institute of Technology and is the recipient of the 2019 Air Force Institute of Technology Young Alumni Award. He and his wife, Allison, both live in Springfield, Ohio with their 2-year-old daughter, Oakley. Older brother, Owen, lives on in their hearts. Dr. Kovac, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Dr. David Myers, who's connecting via Zoom.
So Dr. Myers has served as a senior research engineer in the Information Directorate at Rome Research Site in Rome, New York since 2014. He is a leader in the area of cyber effects estimation. Dr. Myers' novel application of operations research techniques to the area of cyber operations has made him an influential figure across the research community. He is a leader in his professional society, and he has presented at national conferences hosted by the Military Operations Research Society and the Institute for Operations Research and Management Sciences. He is the 2019 Senior Civilian Operations Research Analyst of the Year in AFRL and received honorable mention for the award at the Air Force Materiel Command level. Born in New York, Dr. Myers earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD from the University of Buffalo, and he currently resides in Syracuse with his wife Sarah and daughter Alexandra, who, by the way, is excited that she will become a big sister this spring. David is often reminded by his brother that he is the reason he got the job with AFRL, and he wants to thank John. And he's also trying to pick up golfing, though he, based on his own admission, he's not very good currently. Dr. Myers, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award. Yeah.
Dr. Brent Rankin, who is also connecting via Zoom.
Hello, Dr. Rankin. You joined AFRL as a research engineer in Aerospace Systems Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in 2015 after serving a 2-year stint as a postdoc fellow. He leads several research and development programs addressing near, mid, and long-term Air Force needs. Dr. Rankin has made significant and lasting impacts on the future of the Air Force with breakthroughs in fundamental combustion science and advancements in applied combustion technologies. The innovative combustion modeling, simulation, and analysis tools he developed enabled the modeling of small engines from inlet to exhaust, helping to improve performance and cut the development time of low-cost engines for swarming technologies. Dr. Rankin earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in mechanical engineering from Purdue University and currently resides in Dayton, Ohio. So Brent grew up in the Sunshine State, Ohio. Oh, I meant Florida, Tampa, and enjoys outdoor activities such as golfing, fishing, and hiking. He's looking forward to a cold and hopefully snowy Ohio winter. Dr. Rankin, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award. Congratulations.
Mr. Michael Rucci.
Mr. Rucci's AFRL government career started in 2015 as an electronics engineer in the Sensors Directorate at Wright-Patterson, after almost a year as a contractor in the directorate. His work in sensor performance modeling, turbulence modeling and mitigation, and image restoration has helped to increase imaging performance of electro-optic and infrared sensors for a variety of Air Force platforms. Mr. Rucci's contributions to long-range, high-altitude reconnaissance come highly recognized both within the Air Force Materiel Command and the Air Force. Mr. Rucci has contributed to 13 conference papers and 8 journal papers. He and 3 other co-authors were recognized in 2018 with the prestigious International Society for Optics and Photonics Kingslake Medal for the best journal paper. An Ohio native, Mr. Rucci is actively pursuing his PhD in electrical engineering at the Air Force Institute of Technology, and he currently resides in Miamisburg, Ohio. With so much going on, Michael enjoys spending time outdoors, either fishing, hunting, hiking, or gardening. He is an Eagle Scout and recently took up yoga. Mr. Rucci, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Dr. Mark Spencer.
Dr. Spencer, a senior research physicist in AFRL's Directed Energy Directorate at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, held several internships in AFRL prior to becoming a government employee in 2014. Since joining AFRL, his determination and expertise leads the way in research to understand atmospheric optical deep turbulence. Dr. Spencer's portfolio not only uses advanced sensing techniques like digital holography, it also develops the strategic partnerships and next generation scientists and engineers needed to take AFRL's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance and directed energy developments into the future. Dr. Spencer received his PhD in optical sciences and engineering from the Air Force Institute of Technology, and he currently resides in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with his wife Heather and their son Jack. And Mark, congratulations to you as well for your new position as the Directed Energy Liaison to Indo-PACOM. And we know that you're headed to Oahu, Hawaii, and that hardship. I have little doubt that you and your family will certainly enjoy the location. So, Dr. Spencer, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Mr. Richard Zapula II.
So we'll see when Dr. Zapula comes on whether he has his Hawaiian shirt on, because that's what he had on last Friday. So Dr. Zapula is a research aerospace engineer in AFRL Space Vehicles Directorate at Kirtland Air Force Base. Since joining AFRL in 2013, his contributions in guidance, navigation, and control technologies for space domain awareness and satellite control on the last 3 Directorate flight experiments have been foundational to their overwhelming success. The experiments, reflecting an Air Force investment of almost $1 billion, have been recognized by senior leaders as being the Air Force's biggest game changer ever for space warfighters. Dr. Zapula received his PhD in astronautical engineering from the U.S. Naval Postgraduate School and was the 2020 recipient of the Air Force's Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Award for Engineering Achievement. Very, very prestigious award. He currently resides in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and is looking forward to his wedding to Marjorie Christensen on just in a couple of weeks, November 23rd. Not sure if you've all noticed the photos of Richard in an aircraft, but he was able to solo in a Cessna before he was able to drive by himself to the airport. He is an alum of Georgia Tech, where I'm an adjunct, so I had to throw in the Georgia Tech reference. Dr. Zapula, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I proudly present you with the 2020 AFRL Science and Engineering Early Career Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have one more round of applause for AFRL's 2020 Early Career Award recipients? We will now start the induction ceremony for the 2020 Class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. The AFRL Fellows Award was established in 1987 to honor sustained AFRL career accomplishments by scientists and engineers in one of three achievement categories: research, technology development and transition, or program and organizational leadership. This year's fellows represent an average of 20 years of service to AFRL and a combined total of 216 years served. As with the Early Career Award recipients, additional information on each fellow can be found on our Facebook page or our website. A link to the slideshow will also be provided after the ceremony for those who would like to read all the photo captions. And now, we are here to present the Class of 2020 AFRL Fellows. Starting off, we have Dr. Vasu Chakravarthi.
So, Dr. Chakravarthi is the team lead for Advanced Electromagnetic Warfare Processing Methods in the Radio Frequency Electronic Warfare Branch at AFRL's Sensor Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. During his 25 years in AFRL, he has been a visionary researcher, leading the development of new methods and techniques to rapidly extract signals, understand their significance, and identify key parameters enabling appropriate threat responses. These efforts have resulted in Dr. Chakravarthi being an internationally recognized leader in the development of signal processing methods to detect signals of interest in highly dense and complex electromagnetic environments. His seminal research established a new epoch in how military manages the electromagnetic spectrum and the actions of both friendly and adversary forces. Dr. Chakravarthi currently resides in Beaver Creek, Ohio, with his wife, Lata, and their 4 sons, Kartik, Rohit, Pratik, and Sudarshan. Dr. Chakravarthi, for career research achievements on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I am most honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Dr. Fariba Faru.
Dr. Faru is a program officer in the Air Force's Research Laboratories, Air Force Office of Basic Research in Arlington, Virginia, AFOSR. She has 28 years in government service, with almost 15 of those years in AFRL, where she has initiated and led 12 multidisciplinary university research initiatives. Dr. Faru has made major contributions to computational optimal control theory, both alone and in collaboration with leading scholars. She has personally championed and guided the Air Force's strategic focus in high-order discretization methods and in optimization and uncertainty quantification for large-scale systems. Dr. Faroo supported hypersonics early on, leading the Aerospace Systems Directorate to invest in structural high-Mach wind tunnel testing before the area exploded into the national defense consciousness. She has also been a staunch supporter of early career faculty programs and has gone above and beyond to support talented faculty to the benefit of the Air Force, the DoD, and the nation. Fariba said she used to follow a lesson from a fortune cookie: in work, under promise, and over deliver. Now she follows something a little different: boldly state, but plausibly maintain. Dr. Faroo, for career achievements in program and organizational leadership, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows.
Good for her. Good for them.
Dr. Mark Gruber.
Dr. Gruber is assigned as a principal aerospace engineer in the High-Speed Systems Division of AFRL's Aerospace Systems Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, where he has performed research for 30 years. He recognized the advantage of speed early on and led the charge to make air-breathing engines viable for flight at Mach numbers greater than 5. Dr. Gruber's research has advanced the X-51 Waverider, the hypersonic flight test vehicle, and provided scramjet engine design for the Hypersonic International Flight Research Experimentation Demonstration and Testing Guidance for other hypersonic technologies. Dr. Gruber has also been instrumental to the development and operation of 2 world-class experimental research facilities dedicated to the study of supersonic combustion ramjet engines and their components. He and his wife, Jana, reside in Fairborn, Ohio, with their daughter, Jillian, and son, Mitchell. So Mark loves road trips, and he's really been all over the lower 48, and he even spent 3 weeks in Ireland, which is outside the lower 48. Dr. Gruber, congratulations. For career research achievements, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Dr. Eric Lindgren.
Okay, Eric, I have the privilege of reading this, bud. Dr. Lindgren has 14 years service in AFRL and currently serves as a Principal Materials Research Engineer in AFRL's Materials and Manufacturing Directorate, Structural Materials Division at Wright-Pat. As the Non-Destructive Evaluation Technology Lead, he spearheads development, transition, and implementation of new non-destructive evaluation and inspection technologies. He has led transitions to the depot and field that have saved tens of millions of dollars via more efficient processes and improved readiness of at least 7 Air Force systems: the C-130, F-15, the B-1, F-16, C-5, B-52, and the F-35 in just the last decade. As a technical mentor, he has fostered an environment that nurtures young scientists and engineers to combine creativity with a practical understanding of the challenges of weapon system inspection. Dr. Lindgren currently resides in Beaver Creek, Ohio. On Eric's bucket list is to visit all 50 states, and he has much like the last award winner, hit 48 of them. He needs to reach Alaska and Hawaii. He is an avid downhill skier. I did not know that about you, Eric. And he has spent 28 of the last 30 years skiing the Rockies. And he is also an immigrant from Sweden and speaks fluent Swedish. I did not know that either. So Eric, for career technology development and transition achievements, on behalf of the men and women of the AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of AFRL, of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows.
Dr. C. Michael Lindsay.
Dr. Lindsay is the technical advisor for the Energetic Materials Branch in the Ordnance Division of the Munitions Directorate at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. In response to the pivoting national security posture, he has fundamentally redefined the Air Force's strategic direction in high explosives research and development to meet the warfighter's needs in a potential peer adversary conflict. As the Department of the Air Force representative in DoD's Critical Energetic Materials Working Group, Dr. Lindsay drafted presidential determinations, influenced national policy, and developed plans to meet surging demand of energetic materials critical for our fight against ISIS. From foundational basic research to transitioning key technologies into weapon systems, his technical contributions to the energetic materials enterprise leaves an enduring impact on our most critical military technologies. Dr. Lindsay lives in Niceville, Florida, with his wife, Tracy, son, Ethan, and his daughter, Michaela, who is in college. As an avid woodworker, Mike built a sawmill from scratch during the last couple of years. He's been making lumber from hardwood trees knocked down by hurricanes. And Mike, I have to say, I appreciate all your leadership and what you do for energetics and for your team there as well. So Dr. Lindsay, congratulations for career research achievements. On behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Miss Rebecca Mills.
Ms. Mills has been an AFRL government engineer for 30 years and currently serves as the Senior International Focal Point in the Strategic Planning and Integration Division in AFRL's Information Directorate at Rome Research Site, Rome, New York. Her programmatic and technical successes in the data sharing and fusion arenas have led to several operational transitions. One of these was the SIGINT Tactical and Reporting Gateway, otherwise known as Stargate. Ms. Mills masterfully transitioned this revolutionized signal analyst tool that is able to make sense out of massive, complex, disparate, and often incomplete sets of collected mission data across the entire intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance spectrum. Ms. Mills established the Directorate's Space Situational Awareness portfolio and then transitioned a machine learning and reasoning capability to produce space situational awareness and discover left of the event threat activity, the first of its kind to transition to a national space agency. Ms. Mills and her husband John reside in Rome, New York. She is a stepmom to John's daughters, Victoria, Caitlin, and Sarah, and to his son, Nick. Rebecca likes to share some very keen words of wisdom that when you are afraid, whether you should do or not do something, her words of wisdom are action feeds and strengthens confidence, but inaction in all forms feeds fear. Ms. Mills, for career technology development and transition achievements, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows.
Dr. Khan Pham.
Dr. Pham is a senior aerospace engineer in the Geospace Technologies Division of AFRL's Space Vehicles Directorate at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, and has more than 15 years government service in AFRL. As National Scientific Authority and independent researcher in command, control, and communications autonomy, he has made pioneering contributions to statistical optimal control theory and game theoretical operations research for space domain awareness and military communications. Dr. Pham is the only DoD person succeeding in bridging the gaps between game theory and dynamic resource allocation to mitigate radio threats for protected tactical satellite communications. He is the author or co-author of 2 books, 26 book chapters, 28 peer-reviewed journals, 250 proceeding papers, and 17 U.S. patents. Dr. Pham resides in Albuquerque, New Mexico with his wife, Huong, and sons An and Duk. Khan enjoys working with his hands, and he made a prized accent table from salvaged cholla cactus wood and reclaimed desert willow branches. Of course, in the new normal of 2020, he is learning rock art. Dr. Pham, congratulations for career research achievements. On behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Dr. Ali Sayer.
So Ali, I see you on the screen, a little ad lib. I'm just happy that you do not have a speaking part, because every time you and I are together, I somehow end up with an action list from you to me. So I'm just happy that won't happen today. Dr. Sayer is a program officer at AFRL's Air Force Office of Scientific Research in Arlington, Virginia. He has 13 years of government service, with 8 of those years in AFRL, and is widely recognized as the initiator and international authority in scientific research areas of computational material science, materials for extreme environments, and high-power materials. Dr. Sayer's contributions have helped to transform the space, directed energy, and hypersonic capabilities for the U.S. Air Force, the DoD, and NASA. He created the first national program on materials for extreme environments and directed DoD's first concerted effort to realize his vision of mathematic quantification of microstructures that was advanced by way of bringing applied mathematics and material science communities together for the first time. Dr. Sayer and his wife, Chris, split their time between Bay Village, Ohio, and Arlington, Virginia. They have 5 children: Eileen, Meryl, Kenon, Korai, and Cream. Dr. Sayer, for career program and organizational leadership, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, I am honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows.
Dr. Michael Starks.
Dr. Starks is the Space Environment Mission Lead in AFRL's Space Vehicles Directorate at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico. He has invested 24 years in AFRL and leads the lab's technology development to counter the devastating impacts of high-altitude nuclear explosions on military and civilian spacecraft. Dr. Starks played a leading role in the successful transfer of AFRL's space environment capabilities from Hanscom Air Force Base, Massachusetts to Kirtland Air Force Base as a result of the 2005 base realignment and closure process. He also built and strengthened relationships with the United States Space Force, the operational community, NASA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Dr. Starks created the vision for next-generation DoD space environment capabilities that guide the current program of record. His notable technology transitions include the radiation survivability model used to design most spacecraft, a new generation of environmental awareness sensors, and 2 decision aids addressing indications and warnings for operations in contested space. On behalf of Michael, who understands the humble beginnings of a successful career, he would really like to thank his parents, Mary Ann and John. With Mom watching the live stream and your father from above, to both, we thank you. Dr. Starks, congratulations for career program and organizational leadership achievements on behalf of the men and women of AFRL. We are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Dr. Robert Thomas.
Dr. Thomas has been a government scientist at AFRL for 18 years and currently serves as the lead for the Bioeffects Core Technical Competency in AFRL's 711th Human Performance Wing, Airman Systems Directorate at Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. He has made significant contributions to the directed energy field through his leadership in the national and international laser safety standard committees. Dr. Thomas was the chair of the American National Standards Institute Accredited Standards Committee and was invited and served on the prestigious International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection Standing Group for Optical Effects. In fact, nearly every military-specific laser intended for operational use in the past 18 years and at least 3 major non-lethal systems employing optical emissions were directly impacted by Dr. Thomas's work. He and his wife, Kathy, live in San Antonio, Texas, with their 2 sons, Adam and Matt. Bob has been a strong supporter of student programs for the last 15 years. During his slideshow, many of the students that were there were members of his mentoring programs, if you will, and they now serve at AFRL, other service labs, and the DOE labs. Dr. Thomas, for career research achievements, on behalf of the men and women of AFRL, we are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows.
Mr. Robert Ware.
Mr. Ware is currently a principal materials engineer in the Systems Support Division of AFRL's Materials and Manufacturing Directorate at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. Over his 27 years with AFRL, Mr. Ware has amassed a breathtaking record of technical transitions through his efforts in root cause analysis and mishap prevention. His years of uncovering the mysteries of mishaps, identifying hazards, and leading development and fielding of innovative, cost-effective solutions have contributed greatly to the safety and readiness of our weapon system fleets across the Air Force and DoD, as well as civilian fleets. He has delivered over 375 detailed technical reports, each a decisional document providing corrective action recommendations to the U.S. Air Force leaders. Mr. Ware has directly driven changes to over 50 aerospace systems, and his efforts have saved countless lives and resulted in immeasurable improvement to fleet readiness. Mr. Ware and his wife, Anya, reside in Oakwood, Ohio, with their son, Ben, and daughter, Elena. And after Bob's ROTC commissioning, and before coming on active duty, he and the owner of a Pearson 39-foot sailboat spent 14 days at sea, traveling over 1,800 miles, just to move the boat from North Carolina to the Virgin Islands. So, Mr. Ware, congratulations for career technology development and transition achievements on behalf of the men and women of AFRL. We are honored to induct you into the 2020 class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our 33rd class of Air Force Research Laboratory Fellows. And now, General Pringle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ken McNulty. Appreciate you emceeing today's event. Wasn't that a fun event, Dr.
Absolutely.
Bunning?
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add?
Let's get back at it. We got a lot of work to do.
Well, I think you deserve a moment to pause and celebrate and really reflect on what got you to this place today. Congratulations on all your achievements. That was an eye-watering list to hear of everything that you have done. To Dr. Lewis, thank you so much for joining us today. To all our friends and families and colleagues out there who made all the teamwork possible in support of today's honorees, thank you for joining us. I didn't hear the number, but I'm sure it was record high. And especially to our honorees, congratulations, very well deserved, and we're proud to have you on our team. And to those folks who worked behind the scene to make this event a seamless one, and to cover for Dr. Bunning and I bantering back and forth, I want to do a quick shout out to Mike Griffin, Dominic Dumbra, Jason Roll, Caitlin Thompson. They were part of the planning team. To the corporate comms division, we have Carissa Booz, Patrick Londergren, Whitney Wetzig, Emily Martin, Michelle Miller, and Ken Neff. Under audio video, we have Jeremy Patton working the magic behind the scenes. And of course, special thanks to Terry Luzader and the 88th Air Base Wing Protocol, the Air Force Research Advisory Council, and all the volunteers who made today possible, including our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Kenneth McNulty. So back over to you, Kenneth.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to be here, and thank you, leadership, and everyone else who took part to make this event happen. That concludes today's ceremonies, so everyone out there, make sure to stay safe and have a great Air Force Day.